Deontay Williams, you watching Deontay's Boxing Nation.
Deontay's Boxing Nation. Deontay's Boxing Nation. Deontay's Boxing Nation. Deontay's Boxing Nation.
Deontay's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? First things first, I want to say congratulations to Deontay Wilder for capturing another knockout win over Johann Duhaupas in the 11th round tonight. Wilder seems to be the type of fighter that is always learning on the job, and I think he learned some more things tonight. I think he dealt with some serious adversity. He had his eyes swelling up. He had a guy that was constantly coming forward, and, you know, credit to Deontay Wilder for stopping a guy who had never been stopped before. Johann Duhaupas, one thing that was impressive about him is he kept coming forward. But not only was he coming forward, but he was coming forward with a strong jab. You know, watching the first couple rounds, it kind of looked like it was going to go 12 rounds. It looked like it was just going to be a unanimous decision for Deontay Wilder. When I was watching the first 4 or 5 rounds, I see Johann Duhaupas, he constantly comes in with his head down. He's coming in, you know, going side to side a little bit with the high guard. And this is so funny because I'm sitting here watching the fight and I'm saying, why don't you throw the uppercut? The jab, uppercut. Left jab, right uppercut. This guy looks like he's falling right into it, right? So as I'm watching this, expecting this fight to go 12 rounds, because Deontay Wilder at first, you know, in the first half, he wasn't really throwing the uppercut. He wasn't really throwing a lot of shots on the inside, right? He wasn't really working on the inside that much. It was a lot of, you know, long range fighting when it comes to Deontay Wilder in the first half. But like I said, as I'm watching it, I'm starting to think the fight is going to go 12 rounds because he's not using the uppercuts. He's not really working on the inside. And all of a sudden, I think around the 5th or the 6th round, all of a sudden Deontay Wilder explodes on Duhaupas with uppercuts and body shots. And once he started to throw the uppercuts, that changed the entire fight. You know, this is funny because my son was just sparring the other day, and he was sparring against a kid who was coming in a little bit shorter than him, coming in with his head down. And I told him, I said, when he comes in with his head down, you stick his ass with that jab and you throw the right uppercut. He's going to walk right into it. And that's exactly what happened. He started catching this kid. Every time he came in, he kept landing the right uppercut. Next thing you know, the kid didn't even want to come on the inside anymore. But I'll tell you this, one of the best examples of using that jab and the right uppercut was in the Nicholas Walters versus Nonito Donaire fight. It was in the 3rd round, and it was the very first time that Nonito Donaire had ever been knocked down in a professional fight. Donaire was starting to build up a little confidence. He started to fight aggressive. He started coming in, trying to move side to side, and Walters perfectly timed him with a stiff jab and a right uppercut. Knocked Donaire down. So with that being said, going back to the Wilder fight, I think if Deontay Wilder would have actually set it up with the jab, because eventually he started to throw lead right uppercuts, which seems to me to be just a little bit more telegraphed. But I think if he would have threw the jab and then threw the right uppercut, I think he might have actually got this guy, Duhaupas, out of there even earlier. So, you know, the thing with Deontay Wilder is I believe he has this type of rare combination when it comes to the heavyweight division. Even though Deontay Wilder is still learning a lot of things and he may not be perfect in every category, Deontay Wilder is so explosive and he has so much athleticism with very natural power. It seems to make up for any flaws that he may have. In the first half, like I said, it looked to me like Wilder, he was allowing Duhaupas to almost dictate the pace. You know, kind of push him around the ring with his side-to-side high guard style. And he would come in with a double jab, you know, sometimes single jab, sometimes double jab. but it would be a very stiff jab, and it seemed to definitely get Deontay Wilder's attention. Now, what I like about what Deontay did is he adjusted. He went from the first couple rounds pretty much just trying to rely on his Hail Mary shot, which is the right hand. Once he realized he wasn't probably going to get him out there with his favorite shot, that's when Deontay Wilder, he switched it up and he went on the inside. He started pushing this guy back. He showed his inside game, and he started catching him with all of those uppercuts and body shots. I think Deontay Wilder has the potential to get better and better as he progresses. And, I look forward to seeing him in any fight. I mean, one thing about Deontay Wilder, man, is you're going to get a real fight. It's going to be explosive. Another thing that was impressive about Deontay Wilder is the fact that this guy, Duhaupas, he was applying a lot of pressure on Deontay. So you would think that would almost slow down Wilder, even though Duhaupas wasn't landing a lot of shots. But when people apply a lot of pressure on you, psychologically, it can break you down, and you could fatigue over 10 to 12 rounds. But it looks like when it comes to Deontay Wilder, he's fighting in the championship rounds the same way he's fighting in the first couple of rounds, meaning his conditioning is very impressive. He has the type of conditioning that a welterweight has. So I think that's really going to help him when he fights against these other young lions, or maybe the biggest lion of them all, which is Vladimir Klitschko. Right now, I would say Klitschko is probably more skilled than Deontay Wilder. But I believe Deontay Wilder may be more explosive, more athletic, and more conditioned than a Vladimir Klitschko. And let's also keep in mind, if they ever face each other, it'll be possibly the end of 2016, which means that, of course, Vladimir Klitschko is getting just another year older. But when it comes to Vladimir Klitschko, I don't really think age will play that much of a factor, because Vladimir is not a Muhammad Ali, who gets hit with, 1,000 punches. I think we all know that in the sport of boxing, the less damage you take, the longer you last in the sport. I remember Marco Antonio Barrera, after he got knocked out by Junior Jones, when he was in his prime, he said that the reason why he came back boxing is because someone had told him, I forget who he said told him, but someone told him that, if you start boxing, you stop taking punishment, you're going to last a lot longer in this sport. And Barrera, he took that advice and he changed up his entire style. So to reiterate, I don't think that's going to play a big part in a Wilder versus Klitschko fight. So as far as Duhaupas goes as an opponent, I know this is not the opponent that boxing fans wanted to see Wilder in the ring with, but he did come to fight. A lot of people expected this guy to just go in there and get blown out in the first couple rounds. But as the saying goes, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And we end up getting pretty much a real fight. At least we were able to gauge the progression of Deontay Wilder. Once again, he dealt with adversity and he persevered through it. So I can't wait to see him in another fight. I would love to see him against Chris Arreola. I know Chris Arreola is not this super killer right now, but it would still be a great matchup. Now, but if Deontay is going to step up in competition, I think a lot of us want to also see him in the ring with someone like a Povetkin. That would really test Deontay Wilder's inside game, because we know that Povetkin, he's going to apply a lot of pressure with obviously much more technique and skill than Johann Duhaupas. And then, of course, you have all of the young lions that are in line to fight for the title as well. You still have the very talented Andy Ruiz. Of course, you have Anthony Joshua, who's about to be tested against the undefeated Dylan White. You have this guy, Charles Martin, who I'm going to be watching tonight after I do this video. Another undefeated American fighter there are a lot of very talented fighters in the heavyweight division. The heavyweight division is definitely alive, and I believe by 2016, 2017, we are going to see some great heavyweight matchups. And I didn't even mention all of the heavyweight prospects. Of course, you got Joseph Parker as well. It's a whole lot of them. But Deontay Wilder, right now, he's sitting on top of the mountain next to Vladimir Klitschko, and we should see some serious fireworks in the very near future. That's all I got for now. I'm on to the next one.